What's going on, guys? Dan from SSG bringing you another Edison format deck profile. This time I'm profiling my take on Diva Frog Monarchs, a deck that I took to my Edison local and won the tournament with. Went 3-0, a little bit of a smaller local this week, but really fun deck. Let's get right into it. We have the full 3 copies of Substitoad, full 3 copies of Swap Frog, 2 Treeborn, and 2 Dupe Frog. Not too much to say about this engine. It's just extremely powerful, thins out your deck. Dupe block is really good in a losing position, really good in a winning position. Just a lot of things you want to be doing. And then the consistency of 3 swap, 3 substitoad, having 6 ways to dump Treeborn into your graveyard is just extremely powerful. So, really broken engine, as many of you may know. On to the Monarchs. We have 3 copies of Caius, as it's one of the best cards in the format, and of course it's a Monarch. We have 3 copies of Raiza, really strong as well, especially in combination with Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. We can really set our opponent back multiple turns and kind of just tempo them out of the game. And then the 7th tribute monster I always add to my decks, my Treeborn Frog Monarch-based decks, is the 1 copy of Dark Dust Spirit. I think Dark Dust Spirit is just absolutely bananas. It helps you deal with boards that are really difficult for this deck to deal with. Things like Titanial plus Dandelion tokens, you can't really get rid of things without targeting them, and Titanial is just a very, very annoying threat to deal with in this deck. But it also just enables like big comeback plays. People don't really expect it in the main board. Just a really strong card, gets rid of a lot of different things, and really gets you back into the game. Also, the threat of it, once it's in hand, your opponent has to play differently. They have to always fear attacking into gores, because your board's going to be clear after this thing bounces back to your hand. Card's just kind of nasty. I always liked it. I always played it way back in the day in all my Frog Monarch decks. We have 3 copies of Deep Sea Diva. This card's like an additional mark, as you can combine it with Treeborn Frog to make access to level 6 synchros, along with the 3 that I'll show you in a second that you summon off of this guy. Overall, Diva is just a really strong card. It enables some very powerful plays. One of the things that people complain about this deck is that you can't do multiple things in one turn, but Diva allows you to do some really nasty stuff in combination with your spell cards. And the target we play is Mermaid Archer. This card is surprisingly impressive. Like, being able to be a 2k beat stick when it's in your hand is a dead card. You know, you'd rather, instead of having a Spine Gilman, you can reborn your Treeborn and then equip the Treeborn Frog to this, have it become 2k monster that you can protect by detaching the Treeborn. Also, just being able to summon Diva, go into this, equip the Diva, and now you have a 2000 stick that you played around bottomless. Overall, just like a good card. Like, overall good card. A lot of cool combos you can do with it. But overall, like, it just makes it so that you don't brick, and it's a level 3 target for Diva, which is really important, because you can, this plus Triple Frog equals a 6, so it's similar to a Monarch. But yeah, overall, really strong card. You want to see it early and often. Diva engine is always very powerful. One of the best things you can be doing in Edison format. We have 1 copy of Gores, 1 copy of Trageodia. Of course, these 2 are just staple in this deck. A lot of times when you don't have tempo, don't have a Monarch in play, you're going to be wide open, and your opponent can't always play around Gores, because like if you just do, you'll just have so much time to to enable your game plan. Because your board's always open, they're not going to always expect these. Trageodia are really strong as well, just very, very powerful in this deck. You're going to have a lot of cards, and it's just going to be big. I also play 1 copy of Battle Fader, as I think it's just like an additional way to not get killed. I think it's really important to not die in this deck, because you can kind of just get OTK'd if you don't have one of these cards, because a lot of times they bottomless your Monarch for like a -1, but then like they just go and like kill you, and they use that opportunity to just go in. So I think these 3 really help to protect you. And I think the additional synergy with this card plus Substitoad, it's really strong. Being able to enable the dupe block from a losing position is very powerful, as it gives you a lot of time to draw out the game and potentially come back. So the additional synergy makes this card worth playing in the main board, and I really like these 3 cards. Onto the spells, we have 3 copies of Enemy Controller. This card's extremely powerful. Everyone knows combo with Treeborn Frog, doing really nasty things. But I also run 2 copies of Soul Exchange in the main board, because these cards just help you do multiple things in one turn. Like, people complain all the time. Like, I keep saying to everyone, it's just people complain Monarchs only do 1 thing per turn, whether it be summon Diva or sack for a caius. But these cards really enable you to break huge boards, go off with your Deep Sea Diva by taking their monster or enemy controller, or even just destroy one thing and then sack their thing for caius. Removal spell plus caius, doing multiple things in a turn. Overall, these cards are just very powerful, and I think you should be playing them, especially Soul Exchange. I think not a lot of people are playing it. It also combos with Substitoad, being able to sack their monster to enable your dupe block. Extremely, extremely powerful interaction. So overall, I do like these cards as they help the deck do multiple things in a single turn. 2 copies of Salvage. Trying this out. I think it's fine. I think it's good to be able to bring back Diva to the hand. It's really strong. Helps give us card advantage for our Trageodia to be big. Helps us discard cards for our Phoenix Wing Blasts. Helps enable dupe blocks because you can discard a special summon you swap and then add things back to get 2 monsters into play easily for that substitoad. So overall, just does a few cute things in the deck. Late game, really good for bringing back Diva. Really good card. I like it a lot. Another thing is it enables like some cool synchro plays, like adding 2 water monsters back. Really lets you special summon the Swap Frog. So then like you can then summon Diva that makes an armory arm. If you have something already in play, you can do some really cool stuff. So overall, this card is sweet. We have Mystical Space Typhoon, Heavy Storm. Really strong card. Just want to push through your caiuses, push through your Deep Sea Diva plays, combo them with enemy controller. Really, really good cards. Then we have Pot of Avarice. This is mainly for the late game. A lot of people play multiple pots in these like substitute style decks, but in this deck specifically, I really only like it for the very late game because you have 2 salvages to reborn your frogs and whatever you need those for. But this card just helps you put back your caiuses and Deep Sea Divas in the late game to make your deck feel like ultra gas once your deck is thinned out by the late game with all the frogs out of it. Really good late game top deck. And if you draw it early, you can enable it with the substitute dumping your whole deck. But I like to make it so that you're putting only good cards back, not just like your engine cards. So I think it's just really powerful with late game. Put caiuses and divas and raizas and dark dust spirits back into your deck. Will enable some very powerful late game plays. We have brain control. This card's just kind of busted. You're playing 3 enemy controllers, so you're definitely gonna be playing brain control. Really strong card. And the last spell in the deck is 1 copy of 1 for 1. This card just makes a dupe block. Basically, you just discard, summon Substitoad, use your normal summon, and then you dupe block. Card's fine. I actually didn't draw too much in the tournament or at all when playing this deck. But I think that it just enables some nasty things. But overall, like I could see myself cutting it because I think relying on a card like this to enable your plays is just kind of like it can be risky if you set up the dupe block by doing discarding an additional card. If they say break your dupe block somehow, they can really push for an advantage, I believe. So it's a very fast card, but once the substitutes are also out of the deck, it doesn't really do anything. It just kind of sits in your hand. So it's decent. I like it in the early game, but I could see myself cutting it. For traps, we have 3 Wing Blast. This card's just nasty. Everyone's playing this card in Edison because it's broken. I've always kind of played this card throughout Yu-Gi-Oh's history as it just removes something and puts them and gives in, denies them a different card off the top of the deck, which is basically already mitigates the discard downside. But being able to, salvage to get a +1, then discard one of your cards to this card, or, discard Treeborn Frog to this card, it's just really, really powerful when you're really mitigating the downsides. This plus Raiza will just like tempo your opponent completely out of the game, especially opponents that don't have back rows. They're just going to be sending Raikos or something like that. You're just going to keep bouncing them back to the deck, and they don't really have an out. You can just completely run them over with this Raiza and a caius. The game is literally over. So, really strong card here in this deck. And then, of course, we're running Trap Dustshoot. This card's broken. We want to open it. Really, really strong. Makes it so that we know there's no gore. We can push with Diva. Very, very broken card. Onto extra deck real quick. The only one I want to kind of explain is Armor Arm here, because you can really make it in the late game with Salvage. Really enables some cool stuff with Deep Sea Diva. A lot of times with Mermaid Archer, it's really good because you can go Swap Frog plus Deep Sea Diva to make it. So you have the Swamp Frog and Diva, and you summon the mermaid archer off of the diva. And then you can go like synchro here into a 4, and you have these. Typically, you have a treeborn frog coming back because like your deck is filled with ways to do that. And then you can like equip here and equip here. And now you have a 3K stick that has armor arms burn ability on it and is very hard to deal with since you can send the swamp frog to negate any destruction. So really interesting combo. It's came up a few times and you kind of just beat down with the mermaid archer, which is really, really interesting. And I think it's a potent threat. So I think overall armor arm does some cool stuff. The rest of the deck, of course, we have 5s for the diva play. Andriod and catastor. We have brionac as well as goyo and urquiza. I run urquiza in this deck because it gives you the option to summon it with diva and frog, so I do like that. We have black rose, ancient fairy. I was surprised by how much these actually come up once you take your opponent's monsters. Stardust, dark end, colossal fighter, thought ruler archfiend, red dragon archfiend, mist wurm, and the last card in the extra deck is the chimeratch for our sideboard. Quick sideboard rundown. I don't like to do too much explanations on the sideboard because metas vary. 3 crow, 2 cyber dragon, staples. We have the 3 copies of Vanity's Fiend. I like this card a lot at 3 in the sideboard. You can main it, but I think 3 is just really strong. Especially in combination with Soul Exchange or enemy controller taking their monster and then establishing a Vanity's Fiend can really lock out a lot of opponents' decks. Actually, in the tournament, my opponent went turn 1 Drill Warrior, and then I just like turboed this and banished it, and then I turboed this out by special summoning Swap Frog, sacking it immediately for the Drill Warrior to deny the Drill Warrior to come back into play. So really strong interaction there, but overall this card's just going to be really strong, especially in combination with your spell cards. I have another Dark Dust Spirit, mainly for quick draw. Being able to deal with Titania is extremely important. This card does that, and so we play an additional one in the sideboard. For the Titania, it's just very difficult. We have Jinzo. I like this card. I think it's decent against very, very heavy trap decks. Especially you can like remove their alias with a Soul Exchange and then just drop this. I think it's good. Not great. You can't really like extend afterwards. I like this better in like a quick draw quick draw frog variant where you can then like special summon quick draw and do some other things. But overall, I think it's fine. It's a tribute monster, which is just basically normal summon in this deck because a treeborn frog. So like a 2400 normal summon Royal Decree on a stick is just going to be a good card like that you play in this deck. So I think it's fine in the sideboard. An additional Battle Fader for Light Sworn, the decks that can just kind of kill you. Zombies, I like putting it in against. We have 2 copies of Twister. You just want to push through your plays. Don't want to be hung up by cards like Skill Drain. And like Mask of Restrict can be annoying if people are siding that. So 2 Twister just deals with that quickly. At the 3rd is Soul Exchange, mainly to combo with Vanity's Fiend, but also when you put Jinzo or Dark Dust in your deck, you just want to have more ways to make sure your tribute monsters go live. So that is very good. And then I have 1 Tech Burial. This card's really sweet. Everyone's running DD Crow, so you quick play. They chain to your Treeborn. It gets removed. Then during your standby phase, you're still in your standby. You put the Treeborn back into your deck, into your graveyard, and it comes out. That happened a couple of times during the tournament, so I feel like it's worth a slot. I think it's a really cute addition to the sideboard of your frog decks in general. Also can like kind of mess up their dark counts and do some other things. Card's fine. I think it's interesting and fun, so that's why I threw it in there. That's the deck, guys. Really fun deck to play. I went 3-0 with it. I think it's a lot of fun. Does a lot of different things. And let me know what you guys think about the list in the comments below. Without further ado, this is Dan V from SSG signing out.